Talk a little bit about, you talked about innovation. What's the freedom that you have and what you're doing now in the Harlem Children's Zone that you didn't have when you were teaching in a traditional public school? Because I think it's really interesting.
I think that the big difference for us is we can meet as a team of administrators and teachers, figure out what we need to do, and do it, and we don't have to talk to another person, right? It's just those of us in the room, we sit down, we say, you know what, that didn't work. I said, did you guys do X, Y? Yeah, that didn't work. I say, so we need to come up with a new plan, and if the plan is we need to work Saturdays, believe me, that's the plan, then we work Saturdays. If the plan is we need to work July because it's not happening for our kids, then we work July. Because if you come in and we find out, having made the mistake of bringing you in, that you can't teach, right, and we work with you and we try and we support you and we do all those things, and then the kids don't learn, well, then you have to do something else. You cannot be inside our schools. And I think that kind of freedom to make the decisions, you know, if you run a business, I don't think there's anything controversial about these kind of decisions. If you run everybody I know who runs a business in America meets with their team, figures out what they need to do, and then does it. When people don't work out, they let them go and they replace them with better people. That's the way most businesses run. If businesses are not successful, they go out of business. That happens everywhere except education. Education is the only place you have the option to fail.
It is right? The truth, you know, that in no other place can you get away with that measure of consistent failure and continue to operate the way you do. One of the things that you also hear, and we've heard this Jeff and I have been on a few different panels together. We were hanging with Oprah last Friday. One of the things we did hear all the time is about parents. Well, you know, the school can't do this because the parents are the problem, and so the excuse or the blame is pointed towards the parents. And so I wondered if you'd respond to that, Jeff, and also how you include parents in the process in what you're doing.
Our message to our parents are that you're part of the education of your child. But we also recognize that some of our parents, maybe they have substance abuse problems, maybe they have mental health problems. They are not ready to be full partners in this, or sometimes partners at all. And we still have to educate those children. So while we say we need parent engagement, we cannot use the lack of parent engagement as an excuse for not educating children, right? That's the challenge.
You've spoken about accountability and results that you demand from your teachers. And you know, the response that I've gotten from some corners, and you know which corners those are, is, you know, well, this isn't the right way to compensate teachers. You shouldn't be trying to look at testing or other things to gauge accountability and success. You've had success up there. Why don't you tell everybody how you deal with the issues of accountability, engaging success, and tracking that, and why it's worked up there and why it might work here?
Well, I think in the end, this is one of those issues that, again, people get upset about. This issue of can we measure teacher effectiveness? Can we hold teachers and principals accountable for the results of young people? There are a group of folk who want to argue that you can't do that. Now, that to me is one of those things that if you start down that road that you really can't measure teacher, then let anybody teach. Why? You can bring in just, you know, people off the street and say teach, because it doesn't matter. We can't measure it anyhow. We don't know what good teaching really looks like. That you can. I think we actually can measure whether or not a person is a good teacher. And I think this issue of measuring teacher effectiveness is critical, because only then can you figure out how to hold people accountable. In the current system, if you don't measure anything, then you can't say, you know what, it was you, Jeff, who failed those kids. When you got them, they were fine. When they left you, they were not fine. So guess whose fault that is? You don't want to hear about the mamas. I don't want to hear about the rest. See, that is so simple, right, and direct, that it pulls the covers off of what the issue is.